So, all right. So let's have this. We mentioned something earlier that when you capitalize the heading or the subheading, don't underline it. What they are trying to say, hope you can see my new screen. Can you guys see my new screen?
We can see.
So if the topic of today is listening, let's not be that we'll just end it like this. So let's try it one more time. If it fumbles again, then we'll just continue in the next class. So I was saying something about what's it called again?
The heading and
Yeah.
the subheading.
Can you see my?
Not aligning.
Can you guys see my what is it called now? My screen?
Yes.
So we said that when you use capital letter to
Sir,
present,
please, can you tell Fatia?
eh?
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Can you please tell Fatia to use her mic, making noise?
Yourself.
Which word?
Please,
Tell Fatia.
mic is stopping. Background.
Tell her to mute it, please.
Okay. I will mute her from here.
Okay, thank you.
So what we are saying is when it is, let's say our topic is listening comprehension and what other thing was here? Note taking. If this is the way you are jotting it down, then you don't need to underline it. If you do this, it's wrong. If you want to underline it, then it means you write it in small letters. So when everything is in small letter, of course wait, I should be able to put this automatically. Hold on. When it is in lowercase like this, fine, you can underline it. This is proper. So when I borrow your book, for instance, and I see this, you don't need to tell me that this is the topic. I know that this is heading.
Sir, we are not seeing your screen.
I'm seeing it from here.
That should be network.
I'm not.
Because it shows me that
it's network from your side.
Maybe
it's showing me.
You can quit and join back. It's going to show. So that is all for that. So let's move to the material. What we have next is now do's and don'ts of note taking. We are still under note taking, don't forget. And the reason why we are stressing note taking so much is that is when you do a lot. You do note taking a lot in the course of your studies or through your years in the university. Now, what can you deduce regarding do's and don'ts of note-taking from lectures? As reviewed in the example worked for you in this unit, jot down points and compare your points with mine. Irrelevancies were removed from the notes. Now, we're under do's and don'ts. When you are listening to a lecture or a seminar, always learn to filter out only the important things. That is why we said under the skills you need for note taking. One of it is what? Put down the summary, not everything, not the jokes, the example that the speaker is throwing out, but you filter out the important things. That is when you can write a proper note, or you can take a proper note from the lecture or the speech. So what are the do's and don'ts? One is that you should remove irrelevancies from the note. The second one is that when you use abbreviations such as etc and so on, e.g., for example, and symbols such as the division for either or were used, although sparingly in the lecture. Okay, they gave an example above, but we did not read that example because of the disk that is involved, and we don't use disk again. We no longer use disk in the school. So, first thing is irrelevancies were removed. The second thing is that abbreviations were used. We are under do's and don'ts. That is, we are going somewhere. Irrelevancies removed, abbreviation used, heading and subheadings of the note were consistent. The heading is central. What do you mean by consistent? It means if I'm attending a lecture now and the lecture is commencing now, the speaker has just dished out the topic, the heading. If from the beginning, the heading I used, I capitalized everything, that is, I wrote everything in capital letter. When I'm going to write the next subheading, I should not start with small letter. I should not write everything in small letter. Then the next heading the person will mention, I will now enter capital letter again. No, any one you choose from beginning. Let your note be consistent. If you are taking small letter throughout the note, take small letter for headings throughout the note and underline it. If you are taking capital letter, take capital letter throughout the note for headings and subheadings, and don't underline them. So when it's capital letter, you don't underline. When it's small letter, you underline. But it's not proper for you to use capital letter in the first heading that was mentioned. Then when the person moves to another subheading or another heading, you now use small letter and underline. It's not consistent. Use one consistent pattern. So that is another thing. We've talked about remove irrelevancies, use abbreviation, headings and subheadings of the note should be consistent. Now, the notes were not written in full sentences. We are just talking about do's and don'ts. You should write points and not full sentences in note taking. See the illustration in the box below. Now, these are not written in full sentences. For example, typhoid fever caused by typhoid bacteria. Patient or carriers pass the organism in urine or stool. Flies on typhoid-bearing feces or urine, and so food and water contaminated. And so what I'm just trying to say is, for instance now, you know that when I explain heading and subheading should be consistent, you can see the way I was explaining it, telling you if paragraph 1 heading is one letter or capital letter, don't underline. You understand? All those things that I was mentioning then. The whole thing that you just need to pick is that heading and subheading of note should be consistent. That is all. But you can see how the explanation was long. So you don't need to be writing all the explanation. Pick the point and you are done. You don't need to write in full sentences. Now, you should write points in note. Do not write long sentences. The shorter your point, the more concise your note. But beware, do not be too brief in your note such that your meaning becomes unclear to yourself. What this means is that the fact that I would say you should not be using long sentences, you should join that summary. You should not be so mean to the extent that you yourself, that you wrote the note, when you later pick it to go through it, you now be asking yourself, what is the meaning of this thing that I wrote here? What did I mean to write? You see, that note is not effective. You've just wasted your time in the lecture. So don't say because you want to use abbreviation, you want to make everything short and concise, then you will write what you can't even understand yourself. The note should be short but understandable. So the do's and don'ts, let's take them one by one again. Yes, I want you guys to read them one by one yourself. Unmute yourself. Let's start. The first one is what?
Irrelevance should be removed. Were
Yes.
removed from the note. Number 2, using abbreviation.
Yeah.
Abbreviations were used.
Let's move on.
Heading number 3.
Heading and subheading
Heading and subheading were consistent.
Should be consistent.
should be consistent.
Yes.
Number 4. Notes should be written
The note should not be
full sentences.
the note should not be written in full sentences.
Yes. Next one.
Number 5.
Number 5,
You should write notes
points in notes.
and it
Thank
should
you.
not be too brief.
So it should not be too brief that you yourself you will not understand it.
You understand?
So that is it. We have done justice to that. In conclusion of this unit or this part, note-taking activity is very important to all students. It is needed when listening to lectures, seminar tutorials, and important speeches. Note-taking brings to memory what has been learned or heard. You must always take notes while listening to an important talk. Learn it. That is what shows that you are educated. Imagine going to church every Sunday and not for once in your life you have ever jotted a sermon down. So when they ask you after the church, wow, the church was today, the program was powerful. What is the topic? Bang, bang. You don't know. What did the person explain in the topic?
Why doesn't know?
You don't know. But you know that the service was very powerful. The pastor was spitting fire. It's because you did not take notes. It's normal for you to forget. But if you have taken notes, when someone is asking you on Monday, what happened on church on Sunday, all you just need to speak your note, go through 1 or 2 points, you will remember immediately. So that is work of note taking. And it's not only in church issue. Imagine you sitting in this class for the last 1 hour now, and you did not jot anything. So after the class, in the next class now, we say, what did we learn in the last class? I was not there. Oh, this is my first time I was joining the class. That's what you guys will say. Because you did not jot anything down. But if you have jotted down, if you have taken notes, your notes will revive your memory like, wow, okay, that last class we were talking about note taking and then listening and comprehending. From the topic, if you have written the note properly and your topic, so your headings were written properly, like maybe you are using capital letter for headings, all the capital letters you are seeing in the body of the note, you already know that those are the headings. So just looking for capital letters will tell you all the things you have treated in that particular speech. So it will revive your brain. You say, wow, this is what we did in the last class. So it's very important that you take note. Not just for the sake of this class. It's very important as a student, as someone learning daily. In fact, it doesn't matter who is taking the speech. Even if it's a 6-year-old child that is taking the speech, still write down, jot down something. You always learn something. That is it. If you are not learning, then you are unlearning. In any case, something is happening. When someone is taking a speech, if you are not learning something new, then you are unlearning something you've learned wrongly before. And they should say something that wrong knowledge kills faster. It's better you don't know something at all than you know it wrongly. So in summary, this unit has made it clear to you that note-taking means taking note from lectures, talks, or speeches. Hold on, no. Just hold on a bit. We'll round up now. Let's take that summary. It's very important. That is your take home today. We started from note-taking, the definition. And of course, okay, let me share is my screen showing?
No.
Not yet. Wow. This network is really, I just pray it's going to allow us to take, I have classes with 300 level in the night because that our class is very important too. Okay, let me try to share it back. If it will go this time around. No. Let's just hold on. Still not working. The network is just poor. The way it wants to be poor. Not showing it now, right?
It's not showing it.
And we need
Okay,
to,
showing.
I may have stopped it too. Hold on, let me share it back. We need to do that summary. That's the last thing we are doing today, and we are done by God's grace. So, just give it 1 minute. When you guys are able to see it, let me know. Okay, but while we are waiting, so we said in this unit, the unit has made it clear to us that note taking means taking notes from lectures, talks, or speeches. So in your TMA or your exam, when you see the question that says, which of the following means taking notes from lecture, you should know that it's note taking, not note making. They are two different things. And you have also learned that note making is reserved for making notes from your textbooks, from journal articles or study text. So when you sit down in the library and you are reading a text and you are making notes from it, or you are reading a book, you are making notes from it, what you are doing is note making. Now, we've justified those two. Another thing we've learned in this unit is before you take notes, you should listen attentively and understand what the speaker is saying. You remember under the 5 points of taking notes, the skills. Can we see echo them together? You listen carefully to the lecture. You understand
Fully understand
the summary, abbreviation,
summary,
Summaries
abbreviation,
fine.
using symbols.
Now after that, in this same unit, we talked about when taking notes, you should put down the major point, use abbreviation and symbols when necessary. Leave enough space between different headings. Emphasize the key words. Now, you can place emphasis on the keywords by making it bold. You know, there are some things like when you are writing, so you are taking notes from someone's speech, and the person mentions something very vital in the body of the speech. There are some things you do. You may decide to write that whole part in capital letter. It's not because it's an heading. You can even put it in quotation to show that this thing is very, very concentrated, very, very vital to this topic that we're talking about. Some of you will shade it very well. After writing it, you will still write it the second time over it to make it bold in the body of the note. So you should emphasize key points. And I think that is all for. Is my screen showing yet?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So that is all for this class. I will try to drop assignments, but not today. And we'll get the record in case you want to go through it again. If you have not made notes yet, practice the note making by doing this. This is what you do. When I want to drop the video now, I will drop it from class 1. I will add the link of class 1 and class 2 to it and post it in our groups. So what you do is, let's just round up. We are done. So I was just trying to advise us that when you are watching the previous classes, take notes from them, listen to them, practice all these note-taking skills that you learned today. The best way to do this is to know what you have just done is for you to practice it. So practice it using our last record, the previous classes, and then in the next class, we'll talk about, in our next class, we'll be dealing with listening, comprehension, and information retrieval using the general method. So thank you for attending. Do you have any question before we end the class? We are done for today. If we don't have any question, then do have a wonderful week ahead. See you next week.
Sir, please, about the YouTube channel where we can get the previous classes.
Okay. Where did you get the link for this meeting?
On the WhatsApp channel.
Channel, fine. Just give me like few minutes now. You will see the link for the video for the GST101. So when you get to the channel, just subscribe so that you'll be getting the videos. Whether you are able to attend the class or not, you'll be able to watch the recording there anytime we have a class. I always drop it there.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Thank
you all.